Yep, this is part 2 of an alternative way of constructing portraits using the sort of Panotrait approach. It's pretty vital really. If you're coming in on part 2 and you haven't seen part 1, I recommend you go and watch part 1 first, please, because I sort of explain what it is that I'm intending to do here. I'm just finishing off the central cross aspect of each of the compositions. There's 4 different portraits that are going to be presenting themselves in just a moment with this as you'll see in a minute. So I'm just putting in the final. So each one of the images has been labelled with I've alphabetised them, and then each square, and they're 3cm squares, has been designated a number. So the number is the square, and the alphabetised aspect is the image. So there's 4 letters of the alphabet, 25 squares. And it's really important when you're combining 3 or 4 images. Once you go above 2, I would highly recommend that you label each of the pieces once you've cut them up, or preferably before you cut them up. But make your own discoveries too, though. So if you want to take a few risks, go for it. I don't recommend it. Again, as I was saying, I'm doing this freehand at the moment because I think it makes things a little bit quicker, but if you wanted to, you could have a set square, set it down and use that as a guideline as well. And if it's the first time you're doing it, probably worth doing that. I'm just doing this for time purposes, because I think I'm going to be pushed to get this done inside of an hour. I think I could be coming into a half decent mic soon, so you'll be able to listen to my estuary accent in all its range. I know it's been a bit difficult for a lot of shall we say, overseas viewers. We never sound how you think we're going to sound, do we, the British? Too many James Bond films. Most of us haven't had elocution lessons. Most of us have got regional accents, which is what mine is. Right, with that, I'm going to have a swig of coffee. So, now it's a case of picking which one. That's D22, right, that's here. So I know that's that pile. A7 goes in there. D8 there. C9. D10. We'll move them out of the way at the moment. One at a time. Learn that the hard said it in part one, but I'm using Yoo-hoo glue, the paper that they're on, and they're gel plates, all of these. I've used the bi-plate sort of technique that I've developed. I've posted videos on. I'm not going to go into how I split a monoprint into a bi-print. There are tutorials on my homepage on YouTube if you want to go and have a look. If you're watching this on Facebook, they should be on Facebook too, but if you want to specifically see them on YouTube, I'm same on YouTube as I am on YouTube, or on Facebook or Instagram, and that's Josh Bow Artwork. Right, can you see it's starting to happen now? That's lovely. So you get this mishmash of textures. And I'm not even, I mean, I can use this so I can bring in other printing techniques, other painting techniques, drawing techniques. So there's little bits. I've drawn on one of them just to backfill, which obviously you can see here and here, and there's bits of it there. Where I was using these grey pens from Faber-Castell. And I'm using Yoo-hoo glue which is a contact adhesive, solvent adhesive. I'm not very keen on using things like Copydex or PVA for this kind of undertaking. It doesn't dry quick enough, and things, I need some sort of integrity from the net, which is why I've established a cross first, so I can butt the following ones up against the ones that are already dry. If that was PVA glue, I'd be waiting for another half an hour for each square to dry. That's no good. Not for this technique really. But it's up to you. If you're really patient and you want to do, there's 100 squares. If you want to spend half an hour on each square, that's up to you. That's 50 hours. just to be clear about that. I'm not doing that. I'm very impatient on that level. But it also depends on the surface. You know, if you're using, as I have done in the past, PVA's a bit better on the MDF boards that I've used in other videos, because it's wood and it's very porous. In fact, it's probably more porous than wood in some regard. So PVA does it's not necessarily a contact adhesive. It's a lot more thorough bond, I will say that much. Once it's dry, it's rigid. It's great for sticking wood together and paper. But if it's speed that you need from, then yeah, the solvent glues I found are much better. So yeah, that's Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo. So I want to get one done so you can get an idea, and then I think those who are curious can watch the others develop. But then at least, if you want to duck out, you've seen how it works. Sometimes you get really nice pieces like that where the continuity of the line drawing just echoes straight through from almost, I don't know, from, it's like a ghost image really, in some regards. It's an echo. not too much glue. They're only 3 centimetre an inch square. Continuity with the line drawing coming through again there, that's great. C19. B20, onto the final row in a minute. So there you go, you can see all the different textures now of the gel plates. All start to configure on with each other. 4 pieces left to go. 24, 23, 22 and 25. Yeah, something that I think is quite important, that once you've got that set, I mean, this is all compositionally dependent, but because I've put them all onto one piece, that's why I've built the central columns in the on the vertical and horizontal axis. But once you start putting them together, one of the things I've found with sticking up is stay within the image. If it means that they don't go together quite square, try to incorporate that into it. Don't run along with the shape of the square and the tessellation. Make sure the integrity of the image is held, because sometimes you're faced with that choice. The better you do your measuring and your inverted image on the reverse side, the less chance of it happening. Preparation is key. There you go with the first one. Okay, there we go. I'm very pleased with that one. That's gone really well. Right, so that's this one here. That's that bit. 7C, B8 and D9. Okay. What I'm looking forward to, I hope this one goes on quite well. A lot of different colours colours and textures, but there's a lot of on each of those 4 pieces that's making up the quarterised eye. There's a lot of the line drawing left, so quite looking forward to how it all slots together with this one. That's gone brilliantly. I'm very happy with that. Right, so it's B8. Place. Right, that should be 7C. Look at the time then. We're up to. Not going to get this done in an hour. Maybe an hour and a half. I'll get as much done as I can. Hopefully I can get this, I think I can get this second image and get a lot of the way into the third and, oops, D11. I've done that in the wrong place, haven't I? I'll tell you what, I'm not gluing that. B12, A13, and B14, there we go, that's the one I was after. Yeah, never, always, it uses many reinforced, how do I put it, established glued down pieces as you can. So the reason I haven't glued in the piece that I've just glued, which was D11 over there, here, is because I don't know that it's going to squeeze all of these in, whereas if I just work it across, I know I'm probably telling grandma to suck eggs here, like, but sometimes these things need pointing out. Yeah, to make sure that you get the continuity as much as possible, so use what guidelines you've got. So if I do it this way, I've got a vertical and a horizontal axis to push it against, whereas all I had with D11 was a horizontal axis. Whereas when I work my way to it, I will have both in just a moment. I'll stick this one in and the next one that follows it, which is B12, vitamin. A specific friend of mine will be hearing a tune in their head when I say that. I'll leave that as a bit of an inside joke. An extra daffy of glue on it, D11 is. Make it a little bit more difficult to smear the glue around on it. Never mind. Just have to be a bit more careful. Right, you see what I mean? There we go. Now it's got 2 places that I can squeeze up. There we go. No white lines left between it. So that's a 16, yeah. That should be C17, and it is. Got here, and that's. I got them round the wrong way, didn't I? Right, so that's 19, and that's 18. I think 18 goes there and 19 goes there. Oh, in fact, I know it does. I've just written them down the wrong way. Okay, so we're going to go in with 19 there and then realise that it's 18 next to it that way. So there you go. No matter how many times you practice it, there's always a curveball. Curveball there was no continuity in the numbers. Good job I picked up on it. And you can see there the continuity of the line drawing coming through, so it was absolutely vital that I spotted that. Yeah, so you could say with the 100 pieces that make this all up, that's really what, that's the person or the character within it, and then this is how that person, like as we all are, mishmash of percentages and statistics, especially to the digital world. That should be 21, and it is. That should be 22. 23 and 24. Okay, right, they're all in order. Doing for time. I'll get started on part 3. There you go, that's the bottom half done. I'm really pleased with the continuity of the lines within that. I'll have a swig of coffee because I know I'm going into a third part here without a doubt. But it gets interesting to see how the especially where you get these blank areas and they feed into each other. So, for me they do anyway, but they might not do for you, but they definitely do for me. I quite like that. That's why I set it up this way. So I will work it through to a finish. It's going to be another 20 minutes or so, I reckon. But you get the idea with the bottom ones. If I understand if you don't want to watch part 3. You see how it works. I'm just going to complete the larger image by putting in these last 2 here. But you can see how it works. You could create one image, it doesn't have to be all 4. I was probably being a bit extravagant in doing that, but I think it'll pay off. Patience usually does. And if you want to give me a like and subscribe, or drop me a line, and feel free, and it would be, yeah, much appreciated. Like I said in part 1, I am going to be doing I've been out and got some new reference to work from of a local derelict abbey that's just mind-blowingly good for compositions. I'm hoping I can do it justice. I'm really looking forward to starting. I'm just about to start after this, so I'll film a little bit. So the gel plates are gonna, for a couple of weeks, are probably going to sit in the background, but I will be returning to them because this is how I establish the line drawings and the structure. That, you know, I might end up doing panescapes from the images. That is something that I'd really like to do, and it'd be an interesting inroad into using architecture, even though it is derelict architecture, and it is derelict.